We have with us the recipient of Pradhan Mantri Rashtriya Bal Puraskar for 2020, Pearl Milind Colvalcar.
I feel really honored and privileged to receive such a prestigious award. But first of all, I would love to thank my mom, that is Dr. Tejshri Colvalcar, and my father, Dr. Milind Colvalcar, my mom and my grandmom, Mrs. Moini Kharkate. Both of them have a major role to play in my success journey in this sport. It felt really special, and I felt honored. It was a very solemn moment when the Honorable President of India walked in, and when it was the silence was really solemn, and that day was one of the most memorable days. Is one of the most memorable days of my life.
How passionate are you about the sport?
Sailing and windsurfing are my most favorite sports. These sports have a very they have a lot of, as I would say, you would have a lot of adrenaline rush in these sports, especially in windsurfing. It's my most favorite sport. Um, the the only thing is that I have to do something that is related to the sea. That's how I started off. I started off with windsurfing. So that's when I realized that I love the sea and that there was no dull moment at sea. The waves and the wind have a different story to tell every day. So that's how I kept on. I tried to pursue this sport, and that's how my journey started.
And how do you strike a balance between your studies and the sport of sailing?
It's always like when I get free time, that's when I'm in the water sailing or windsurfing, and the rest of the time I'm either studying or I go for my music classes and this and that. And as for the support my school gives me is they actually they are really happy that I have received this award. They are really proud of me. So I am really thankful for my school to be so proud of me.
How did you develop a liking for this sport?
As I said, when I started off with windsurfing, I realized that I belong to the sea, that this is where I actually can start off and I can pursue these two sports.
At what age?
I was 10 years old when I started with windsurfing, and I started sailing when I was 11. Initially, I was one person who would never even come within 10 feet of the water. But then this sport has made me into a completely different person, as it was a different, it's like as if the sea is calling me rather than me wanting to go to the sea. I wouldn't say the same thing if I'm going towards a swimming pool, because I find I don't really approve of swimming pool rather than the sea. I mean, I would rather approve of the sea because it's like one open, free place where I can be like a free dolphin, and the swimming pool is like a closed area, like a caged area where I wouldn't really want to go.
How did you cope up with the challenge of skiff sailing?
Well, when I first stepped onto that boat, I capsized. I couldn't stand on it for even like a second. So that was like my first day on the 29er. That was my first stepping stone to the next. On the third day, that was the day I could actually sail it. And when I sailed it, everyone was really astonished, because it is impossible for a normal person, for a sailor, to sail that boat within 3 days. So then they really said that I have talent in this sport. I'm really not boasting at this point of time, but yes. And then that's how I actually developed a liking towards it. Once you get onto a fast boat, you just don't feel like going back to a slower boat. So after the 29er, I again came back to windsurfing, where again I was again in a fast mode boat. So yeah.
How much do you work on your stamina and your strength?
As per now, I have not actually done a lot of fitness lately, but usually I go for jogs, and I don't really have a diet, but then I just have to eat a lot of vegetables and a lot of protein and carbohydrates before my races, especially before my races, carbohydrates.
What's your target that you have set for yourself in sailing, in skiff sailing, windsurfing? How do you approach to take it forward?
Windsurfing, I really want to take up windsurfing now. So I want to go for the Asian Games. That's my one goal. So yeah, that's...
Coming to the big moment where you met the Prime Minister and he spoke to you, and you also got this watch personally signed by the Prime Minister. So how do you describe that experience of meeting Shri Narendra Modi ji?
When we were taken to the Honorable Prime Minister's house on the 24th of Jan 2020, so all of us were there was a lot of security and everything, but it was a very honorable moment, because when he came in, everyone stood up and we were in the stands waiting for a photo. So he came, walked towards us, then afterwards he gave us this gift. That time he congratulated me, and I told him that everyone in Goa loves him. In Hindi, like सभी लोग गोवा में आपसे सभी लोग बहुत प्यार करते हैं. And then afterwards he was very happy. Then he gave us a speech. And it was a very inspiring speech, as well as he made it. It was not a speech that he usually gives to the whole of India when he comes on TV and everything. When he was speaking to us, he spoke to us in a very childish manner, and with a very childlike, and we all had a lot of fun. So then we completely forgot that it was he, the Prime Minister, who was standing in front of us and speaking with us. But then his speech was really inspiring, and he said one thing which I think everyone should keep in mind is whenever they achieve something, it is not the end. It is just the beginning. And another thing that you should never go in the air especially for us, when he told us that do not go in the air or stay on the ground only. So that means be humble, do not actually have attitude, and yeah.
Sure. So I think, Pearl, it's an amazing feat, amazing achievement from your side, and we hope that you can build on this and bring more glory to Goa, and then of course for India in the international sports arena of sailing that you've chosen. What would be your message to youngsters who are watching this interview?
Well, for the sports persons, I would rather say to never miss a training session and to never give up. And I would like to say one more thing, that make friends with not just your books, but also with the world around you, with the nature around you. Because if you are only with your books, you will reach at a place, but then you wouldn't be a very outgoing person if you are with your books only. So that's all.